Join us for the next half an hour as we take a look at some of the top stories making news. There's been a new development in a major child sex abuse case that's made headlines in Israel and Australia for years now. The Jerusalem District Court deciding today that alleged serial paedophile Malka Leifer is mentally fit for extradition to Melbourne, where she is charged with 74 counts of child sex abuse from her time as a school principal over there. Now, the issue of her mental state had held up the issue, but a court-appointed psychiatric board unanimously ruled in January that she has been pretending she was mentally ill in order to avoid extradition. The case sparking much anger in both countries, with allegations that an ultra-Orthodox community here had tried to help hide her while she was in the country. Fingers were also pointed at then Health Minister Yaakov Litzman, who was accused of trying to scupper the investigations to keep her from having to return to Australia. Her hearing now takes place on the 20th of July. For reaction to the story, we now welcome Dassie Ehrlich from Melbourne, a sexual abuse survivor, and her sister Nicole joins us as well. Dassie and Nicole, thank you so much for your time. It's been 6 years now fighting obstacles in this case. One can only imagine the emotions you are feeling right now. How does it feel hearing that Malka Leifer is fit to stand trial in Australia?
We are absolutely overjoyed and so relieved to know that finally the courts have seen through her lies. We've been fighting for this for 6 years now.
And unfortunately, we have lost that line to Melbourne. We will try and reconnect as soon as possible. So let's go back to Melbourne and let you continue. Talk to us about your feelings. How does it feel right now knowing about these latest developments?
Absolutely overjoyed and so relieved to know that finally the court is seeing through her lies, and that a judge has ruled that she is mentally fit to stand trial. We've been fighting for this for so long. She manipulated us, she manipulated the court system, and finally this is coming to an end.
And how are you feeling?
It is a massive relief. The build-up to today's court hearing was so anxiety-filled, and all day today running around and counting down the minutes and just hoping against all odds that today there'll be good news. And when the good news came, we just sat here looking at each other and we actually could not breathe for a minute. We couldn't believe that we actually got this day, this statement from the judge that we knew had to come at one point, and it didn't come for 66 court hearings. Court hearing 67 gave us the news we should have heard in court hearing number 1.
One can only imagine what it feels like, as you say, after 6 years of fighting. Talk to us about the support that you have had in Australia specifically as this case dragged on, and efforts had continued to try and get Malka Leifer back to Melbourne. How did the Jewish community respond to what was going on?
The wider Jewish community has been amazingly supportive of our efforts. They have petitioned the government here, they have petitioned the government in Israel. We've had the Prime Minister in Australia supporting us. We've had a lot of federal members of parliament supporting us. And we have had an absolute swell of support for justice.
And donors here in Israel and support on the Israeli side from the Jewish community, what was the response like from this side of the world?
When we travelled to Israel, and we did that 3 times in the last 2 years, and the 4th time I did myself alone, just for the campaign, we met many members of the Knesset who gave us their unwavering support in our quest for justice. In the ultra-Orthodox community, not many, but there are a few from Sahar and a couple other organisations, the Rape Crisis Centre and many others, Shana Aronson from JCW, again, who stepped forward and gave us their unwavering support to help us as a team effort. The Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, Fleur Hassan, who help us going forward step by step and are our supporters in the court when we can't be here, like this court date. We wanted to be here for this court date. We planned for years to be here for this court date today. But because of Corona, we could not make it. And thank you to all our supporters, Adam Siegel, who went specially for us and stood in court Manny Wax as well.
Now, you've described how long it had taken to try and get to this part of the case, and as we know, the actual extradition hearing will be happening now in July. How does it feel knowing that the health minister at the time here in Israel, Yaakov Litzman, was accused of helping to keep Malka Leifer here in Israel and hide her, in effect, almost accused of scuppering investigations? What did that feel like from where you were in Melbourne?
I just think that it's absolutely appalling that people in positions of power can use their power to do something like this, to cover up abuse, and to do something like this. We just feel that he should absolutely face an investigation into what he has done, and if the allegations are true, that he should face justice for his crimes.
And when it comes to other survivors of abuse who may be watching right now, how has it helped you both by speaking out and being able to keep fighting to get justice? How has this managed to keep you motivated and not get demoralized, as you say, 66 times going back and forth from court? How do you keep going? What message do you have for other survivors?
We know that what we're doing is absolutely important, and we know that we need to continue raising awareness so that people don't think that they can get away with this. And we know that along the way we have met many survivors and many people who have taken inspiration from us, and who we know that we have all of their support, and we have so many amazing people that have believed us and stood with us, and that's the reason that we can continue going.
And your thoughts?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I just lost it for a minute when we cut out.
We just wanted to know what kind of message you wanted to have, if you could spread the word to other survivors of sexual abuse. How do they keep going, stay motivated, keep it fighting when you know that cases can be adjourned and delayed the way they were in this case? What kind of message do you have for people who are watching who may also be survivors of abuse cases?
We would say, if you have the support, stand up, go to the police, make a statement, and hope and pray that justice will come for the person that abused you as well. No abused victim should feel like they are alone and they are not believed. We believe you, and there are many more people around the world who are growing now to realize that survivors take many years to speak up and are believing them. And there are organizations who will support you as well. And we hope that you have the courage to do that, because it's important to get the abusers off the street from hurting other people as well.
And finally, this is a very difficult question to ask you. It's been such a long road. If you could share with us, if this case does actually happen in Melbourne, would you want to look Malka Leifer in the eye? What do you want to see? Do you want to hear from her? Talk to us about what that would be like, if you can.
I think for me, the biggest thing has always been, more than anything, is to face her in court and look at her in the eye and say, why? I know it's not an answer that she may be able to give me, because why do any abusers do that? But the way she cloaked it in love, and it was so seemingly innocent, the grooming process, it's just so difficult to understand the mechanisms behind her brain, doing that when she knew how vulnerable we were from the home that we came from, and how easily susceptible we were for the abuse. And I want to be able to give my impact statement and say, this is where I am, despite what you've done to me.
Well, we want to thank you both so very much for speaking to us. Dassie Ehrlich, Nicole Mayer.